a decade, he was the architect of other people's victories. Now, a high-profile strategist is stepping onto the ballot himself, and the results are forcing a re-evaluation of Bihar's political map. Raviklegal, promoted by advocate Ravi Kumar, brings you a clear legal analysis of this issue. In the Bankipur Bypoll, Prashant Kishor secured 64,151 votes. He defeated the BJP's Kumar, who polled 44,827, finishing with a victory margin of over 19,000 votes. To understand why this matters, look at the history of this seat. The BJP had held this specific urban constituency continuously since 1995. This victory dismantled a 3-decade-old stronghold on the first attempt. However, this single victory stands in contrast to the party's performance 9 months prior. In the 2025 state elections, Jan Suraaj contested 238 seats, won none, capturing 3.4% of the vote. In this exact seat, in 2025, their candidate received just 7,717 votes. 9 months later, with Kishor on the ballot, that number jumped to over 64,000. The data shows a divide between the candidate and the organization. Bankipur voters chose the individual on the ballot, even as the party behind him struggled to find its footing statewide. Kishor arrives with a resume that includes work for Narendra Modi, Nitish Kumar, and Mamata Banerjee. But advising a chief minister requires a different skill set than managing the internal rivalries and local structures of a grassroots party. He is also a former insider of the current power structure. In 2018, Kishor joined the JDU at the suggestion of Amit Shah. While there is no evidence of a current secret pact behind his win, his history shows a man who knows exactly how the state's leadership operates. That insight likely helped him spot a recent opening. With Nitish Kumar moving to the Rajya Sabha in 2026, the BJP has assumed more visible ownership of the state government's performance. This shift created a political vacuum. Kishor capitalized on this moment of BJP exposure to launch himself as a primary challenger. The conditions of the win also suggest a need for caution. Bypoll turnout in Bankipur was notably low, at just 34.3%. Low turnout elections reward the side that can most intensely motivate its specific supporters in a bypoll. Kishor could focus his entire organization on one constituency, a luxury that disappears during a general election. However, the result is a warning for the traditional opposition. Between 2025 and this bypoll, the RJD candidate's vote count dropped from over 46,000 votes to just 14,273. When voters looked for a viable alternative to the BJP, many deliberately bypassed the RJD and moved toward Kishor. The victory is a dual threat. It embarrasses the ruling NDA in a safe seat while simultaneously eroding the RJD's dominance over the opposition vote. Despite the momentum, the math of the assembly remains rigid. Bihar has 243 seats, and a government requires a majority of 122 MLAs. This is the current layout of that assembly. Jan Suraaj holds exactly one seat. Without a total rupture of the current coalition, a Kishor chief ministership is not a near-term reality. His platform, focusing on education, local jobs, and ending distress migration, addresses issues that touch nearly every family. But in Bihar, a vision for development still has to compete with entrenched caste arithmetic and local booth networks to become a statewide contender. Jan Suraaj faces 3 specific tests. First, the party must prove it can win seats where Kishor himself is not the candidate. Second, the organization must build a social coalition that travels beyond urban Patna and into the deep rural constituencies. Finally, Jan Suraaj must show that its local candidates can withstand the pressures of money, caste, and local factions that led to their failure in 2025. Bankipur proves that Prashant Kishor can make himself win. The much harder task is proving he can make a party win. Bihar has only just begun. Is Bankipur a single remarkable bypoll upset, or the first stage of a change in Bihar's power structure? Tell us what you think in the comments, and subscribe to Ravi Legal for serious legal and political analysis.